2, 3, 4.
Is John here? I'm not seeing
Yes.
John. Oh, there, no, there's Tom. There's John. Okay.
And you see Tom. So I think we can
Yes,
get going.
thank you.
If everybody's ready.
Yep.
So why don't we start with and first of all, I have to say thank you, everyone. I know this came so close to our next meeting. That was not intentional. Mary's been working pretty hard trying to arrange a time with Connor. We still felt, even though it came close, it was important to keep it. It's going to be a short agenda and a short meeting. It gives us a chance to digest Connor's presentation, and everybody has a week to, roll it around, and we can have, I think, a more fruitful discussion next Wednesday. It also doesn't lob on top of next Wednesday, which Mary has some things that she'd like to discuss with us that might make for a pretty full meeting. So thank you all. I appreciate it. I know it's so close together, but it just made sense to just leave it alone at this point. So I appreciate it. So let's all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Mary, before I introduce, or you can certainly introduce Connor, is there anything that you wanted to say before we get started?
Thank you, Joey. I'll leave some other details to speak following Connor's presentation, but I did have the pleasure of speaking with him several weeks ago already, and we're very excited to possibly have him help us move the Still River Greenway gazebo repair forward. It's something that's been our agenda for quite some time now, and the timing is such that it seemed like Connor fell out of the sky at just the right time. So without further ado, I will turn it over to Connor.
Thank you. I'm just gonna take over your screens. Okay, so first off, hello, my name is Connor Carlson. I'm a lifelong citizen of Brookfield, and I'm currently a senior at the Brookfield High School. I am a Life Scout and also the senior patrol leader of Troop 135. Our troop is currently over 25 years old. At the moment, we have a troop of about 25 scouts and 15 active leaders. I'm also a member of the National Honor Society, and I'm planning to pursue a career in engineering with college. Sorry. Okay. So what is an Eagle Scout project? An Eagle Scout project is one of the most significant requirements for achieving the ultimate scouting honor and rank of Eagle Scout. It's meant as a vehicle to learn about project management and to specifically benefit an organization other than Scouts. A project must be approved by a troop committee, then the council, and BSA National in order to meet the standards of an Eagle Scout project. There is no definition around raising money or who the benefactor is other than the Scouts themselves. So if the town approves this concept, I still need approval from the troop, council, and national. It's really a time investment. So an Eagle Scout project is one of the most significant requirements for achieving the ultimate scouting honor for rank of Eagle Scout. It's meant as a vehicle to learn about project management, specifically benefit other organizations and Scouts. While a Life Scout, I'm meant to plan and develop this large project to be able to give leadership to others in a service project that's meant to bring many people together. It could be either to a religious institution or any school or community. The project is really meant to benefit other people than Boy Scouts. Sorry if I say that a bit too much. So Still River Greenway is a destination. Right now it's requiring structure stabilization and rescue. The sites need improvement, and I know this is a really big project, but it's going to benefit the community and town. It's going to be very visible. This one is a large project with two major components. I'm going to have a team of adults to structurally rebuild and stabilize the overall gazebo. and I'm going to have a team of scouts to do some landscaping around the area and repaint the gazebo. I will walk you through the whole project, so please hold all questions for the end. I might address them throughout the presentation. So first off, Still River Greenway gazebo. The Brookfield Still River Greenway is a popular destination for many of the Brookfield residents, and as well as many other residents in the neighboring towns. According to data, it hosts over 300 to 500 visitors a day. In 2018, the Greenway itself was heavily impacted by the microburst, left with many trees down and the structure damaged. This particular structure was hit by high winds and is in need of restoration. The gazebo existed prior to the Greenway being installed, but it was a destination for the many nature trails behind the town park. As a child, I did go there and I always enjoyed eating lunch at the gazebo. I personally am quite saddened by the current state of the structure. So here's really my vision as an Eagle Scout project. The current status of the Still River Greenway gazebo is that it's currently unsafe for use. It was damaged by the storm. Historically, it's not been well maintained by the town, and the town has currently raised $4,200 in donations to support the refurbishment. There are, at the moment, no further plans by the town to repair it. This is a very good and potential Eagle Scout project for one such as myself, and I'm requesting permission to be allowed to propose this to you and to so many others. At the moment, the grounds are cleared and there's no utilization of the area, no path. My initial inspection of the structure itself, it appears that the majority of the roof is salvageable. It will require properly footed supports. As you can see, the building is on a slant and all the supports are tilted, so I will need to replace and refoot all of them. It is possible to raise the roof on lolly columns in order to repair the pillars. So my initial proposal for the structure. Demolition of the structure is not required. The structure has been knocked askew by the winds. The supports for the roof need to be reinstalled, and I will be able to retain all the interior roofing structure. I'm not going to be replacing the shingles. I'm going to leave that up to either a professional team hired by the town, or what I'd prefer to go with is a group from Abitech, because I know they need community service in order to graduate that school, and there are programs that do roofing for free.
Oh, wow.
I'm going to be replacing the ornamental trim around the structure, and I'm going to improve the seating of the overall structure with integrated benches. I'd like to improve the floor because at the current moment, it's just a patch of dirt with bits of gravel that are left there from the years prior. And I would like to paint it bright white to match more of the New England structures that are around here. So my initial inspection of the site at the moment is quite barren. It's been mowed clean and there's no path or shrubbery. I would like to create a path or entrance to the structure itself that would reduce foot travel on the grass. It would protect the overall area from erosion. I would like to build steps that are currently on the Appalachian Trail. They're wood boxes with gravel steps inside. I'd also like to build traditional New England farmers' walls up the sides to help guide people up. I would also like to contact local nurseries and plant some native shrubbery that won't require any maintenance. I'd like the overall area in the end to look well established as if it was originally installed with the Greenway. At the moment, the town does have most of the resources needed to actually build those add-ons. The town has secured funds to cover this, and the Department of Public Works has the materials for the stone wall and the gravel path I'm looking at installing. So there would be no cost to the town for the resources that are currently available on site. So my proposal. I, Connor Carlson, a Life Scout, would like to lead the planning and execution of the gazebo restoration project. This would make a worthwhile and meaningful BSA Eagle project. It would give me experience in leadership with my own peers who are the scouts and the adults who I would be working with, and professionals. And this is really a big project management. It would provide great experience for myself and the many other scouts in the troop, and really benefit the community for many years to come. I would be working with experienced parent leaders to use the existing donated funds for restoration materials. Most all the labor will be supplied by Troop 135, other than the supplemental labor for the roofing, either from professionals or if I can get people from Abitech. The timing, I would like to take place in the fall, but mainly it's probably going to be early spring of 2021. I would prefer to do it this fall, but I'm worried about timing right now. If approved to continue to proposal, I would be meeting with the town building department. I'm going to establish bi-weekly team meeting statuses via Zoom. I'm going to have project site reviews with professional carpenters, that mainly being the assistant scoutmasters, Mr. Flum and Mr. Baker, who have already agreed to help me for this project. I'm going to develop a detailed budget, safety plan, and then in the end, I'd like to finalize this plan with the town again. In the end, I'm working towards submitting an Eagle Scout project proposal to BSA so I can begin working on the project itself. My next steps. First off, I've already secured troop committee approval to move forward with the project. Right now, I'm working to try and get town approval to run the project itself. Later, I'm going to be creating a detailed plan for the Sewer River Greenway gazebo. And then I'm going to, of course, need that Eagle application and finalization. An Eagle Scout project is all about planning, developing, and providing leadership to many other people and scouts. For my project, I will need the support of adults and scouts. We're going to be collecting resources to achieve a goal. Are there any questions?
Can you take us off the, or does anyone need to go back to any of the slides that Connor has? And Connor, first of all, would it be possible to send this out to each of the commission members? I can provide emails for you so that we could have a copy of this?
Yes, that would
work. Or perhaps
work.
provide it to Mary and we can distribute. That would be great. Let me just say one thing first, Connor. If you are the youth communication leader of tomorrow, we're in good hands. That was an extraordinary, very mature presentation. I applaud you on that. Thank you so much. So why don't we open it up now for questions? And what I hope our goal is tonight is for people to get enough information so that you can give it thought over the week and we can discuss it perhaps and come to some kind of a conclusion next Wednesday. Not so much to get the, debate every single point, every hammer and nail, that this will require. So with that in mind, let's start. Dan, can we go back to the full screen that we can all see each other?
I will end the sharing.
Connor,
There we go.
No surprise, Connor, you need to do that. Let's start. How about we'll start kind of in the order I'm seeing everybody. Cassie, we can start with you. Any questions or comments for Connor?
No questions really, Connor. Just a congratulations for a very concise and thoughtful presentation. Really was very, very thoughtful. Anything that I thought about, you really addressed. I love the idea of the path and making it look like it's been there forever, and integrating it into the Greenway. I think it's fantastic. It's a nice place if people want to take kids and walk up there. I think it will be really, really well used. And I think it's a terrific project. You'll involve a lot of people. You'll learn a lot and the other scouts will learn a lot. And I think it's a wonderful thing for the town. So I think it's great. And I really enjoyed your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Cassie. Renee?
You're
No
muted.
Oh, she's muted. Oh, sorry.
Hey, I don't have any questions right now.
No questions. Thanks, Renee. John?
Yeah, my one question, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My one question, Connor, is I'm just unsure on the roof. I know you said you'd like to have, Abitech do it or somebody else. My question is are you going to speak with Abbott Tech? Is that going to be part of your overall project, or is that something that is going to take place after you're done?
So I would like to reach out to Abitech. If they say yes, I would probably have them come in after I've obviously made the structure itself stable so that they can work in the environment. So
Okay.
any roofing would definitely have to take place after I've restabilized the structure itself.
Okay, I just wasn't sure if that was going to be part of your overall project. It's a huge project, it really is, with all the steps and the stone wall. So it's a great big undertaking, and it'll be very worthwhile. But that was my only question, whether it was included.
Thank you.
Yep.
Tom?
Okay. Yeah, it looks like a big undertaking. Connor, have you ever done anything of this scope or anything similar to this before?
Honestly, no. Really, the
No.
big part of an Eagle Scout project is to push someone to go do something out of their comfort zone and do something new.
Okay. All right. Yeah, and just the other question, you said something about roofing professionals. I mean, something like sort of what John said. So is that hiring roofing professionals, or or is there someone you have a contact, like one of the scout leaders or something, is a professional roofer?
So I was talking with Ray Flum,
Okay.
and he was advising me that it wouldn't be really a good idea to have the scouts themselves do the roofing, especially with the steep roof.
Okay.
With his original advisement to the town when he was talking about the gazebo, he mentioned really hiring professional roofers. I
Okay.
was originally gonna honor that idea, but I found out that Abitech has a roofing program, so I'm looking to reach out to them to see if they'd be willing to do it for free.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tom. Rob?
I want to commend you for your eloquent presentation as well. I had two questions. One was, if we have to resort to pay a contractor, it would be good to just know how much that is. You were saying the town had funds, $4,200 already. I was curious if getting an estimate from a professional, and then of course using Abitech to save us money. I was just curious if we want to find out just what it would cost have a roofer come out and do that. That would be, and that's what we should, either you or we should do. So we know what that would cost if we can't get Abitech. And then my second question was the steps that you're making. I mean, I like the idea, the way you have it set up to make it look like it's always been there. That's great. I did have a concern sometimes when you renovate something, you have to make sure there's a handicapped accessible way. And it looked like to the right, just looking at the picture that you had to the right of where you drew in the steps, I was curious if we would be required to have a handicapped accessible manner to get to this in addition to the steps. I was just curious. We probably should look into that.
Good point.
Okay. At the moment, I did not have plans for handicapped accessible. The area still is quite large, and there is a small gradient off to the side. It is still possible to build a gravel trail. I'll just have to look into how much that'll be. But at the moment, handicapped should be able to access the structure.
I would just hate for that to be a stumbling block and have not thought of it. Maybe we could just check if it's required and how simple. It could be very simple, and you can have the nice stairs and just a simple gravel gradient so people can get up there with their wheelchair, you know?
Yes,
Well,
thank
can I
you.
ask you a question? Can you use gravel for ADA compliant? I've got two nephews that are in wheelchairs, and I know gravel is very difficult for them. I'm wondering if keeping it grass and dirt would actually be better.
I mean, that would probably be a bit more cost effective.
Mary, can you speak to that?
I do know that sometimes we use crushed stone, like packed crushed stone, and that's considered accessible. But I think if we're going to be looking to really create an accessible pathway, we should really take a look at what materials are recommended, because it's not my area of expertise. I don't want to misadvise.
Well, hopefully those are ingredients that the highway department or that, they have available and it's just a matter of spreading it out. And you certainly have the labor force with the people in your troop to help you. So that could be a problem easily solved. I just want to make sure you think about that.
Thank
Somebody
you.
does.
It's a good point, Rob.
Well, thank you. This is a great presentation.
Thank you, Rob.
Thank you.
Would you like an opportunity to ask some questions?
Joe, I'm sorry, Joey, did you say Sue? I didn't hear
I
the
did.
beginning. Okay. Connor, I just want to congratulate you. I know there's several of us within this group who have connections to people who have gone through Eagle and know the amount of work that you've had to get put into place to get to where you are now, let alone the hours that it's going to take to actually do the work. So just congratulations on all that. And I wish you great luck. And I would have to say that on behalf of the town, I'm thrilled, and I'm sure the residents would love to have this. So thank you very much for doing this project.
Thank you. Thank you for your support.
One or two questions for you. One is, how did you reach your conclusions on the actual structural needs when you laid out for us, what you felt it needed or didn't need? How did you reach those conclusions?
Mainly it was a bit through conversation with obviously Mr. Flum. The interior roofing is not rotted at all whatsoever and is all quite intact. Only the bottom pieces that were more weather exposed would need to be replaced. I mean, obviously the pillars themselves, having been put on a tilt, will need to be replaced, especially since the town has roped off the structure, calling it a safety hazard.
So was Mr. Flum there with you? You went over it together?
He was not there at the moment of inspection, but we did have a conversation in regards to what should be done with the structure, and I will have furthermore conversations with him and the other professionals I'm going to be working with.
Okay, thank you. And the other question I had is, or concern maybe that I have again, and it is a big project, and I'm not saying it's a project that is, beyond your capabilities to lead, but my concern is making sure that you do work with adults or contractor consultants, so that it's done safely and appropriately. But we can drill down into that, I'm sure, when the commission has a fuller discussion on it. So what is your need from us tonight?
Honestly, right now, I need more like a stamp of approval. Is it okay to go forward and continue planning this project, get all the numbers I need, and eventually come back for a final approval? Really, I want to have the go-ahead that this is something you all agree is something that needs to get done and would be able to be done by me, because I don't want to have to get to the end and suddenly be like, well, this is not something we want done or need done. So right now I'm looking for the approval of this committee to be allowed to move forward in planning.
Okay, I think obviously there are a few members missing that I think would really like to weigh in on this. And also we need to probably have a deeper conversation, drill down. There's a lot of real estate between telling you go ahead, and to your point, I don't want to make you go so far down the road. We don't want to give you an impression that we're giving any kind of a final approval. It's a really big thing for us to discuss. It's a really important project, as you said. So and the other thing is, I know that we've all been extremely anxious to get this done one way or another. So we don't want to delay it, too much longer and get this thing in motion, whether it's Eagle Scout project or otherwise. So would next Wednesday, not giving you any kind of even go ahead tonight, would next Wednesday be appropriate for us to give you some indication? I think we'd all certainly like to see you put together a more detailed plan for us, numbers and so forth. Is that appropriate if we do that next Wednesday, or is this something, I know there are a lot of deadlines with Eagle Scout candidacy, so
It should be fine to have a better stamp of approval by next Wednesday.
okay.
I'm just looking to have a general okay for the moment, just so I can continue planning.
And Mary, I'm going to give you then the last, you may have questions yourself, obviously, and, I know you have a timeline that you wanted to have this thing done a long time ago. So what's your thoughts, Mary?
Thank you. So when I met with Connor, a few weeks ago already, his presentation was slightly different, and he certainly made some additions and alterations to the presentation, which I am also digesting this evening. I do want to say, well, first, Connor, you did a great job presenting to the entire commission, and thank you for doing that. Also, in speaking with the donors, so as everybody's aware, we've had two major donations made. One was from Brookstock, and one was from the Four Corners Business Association. And I have been in touch with both of those groups, and both of those groups do support the commission going in this direction, should the commission feel this be a good direction to go in. So just know that both groups are in support. That said, the monies raised were raised specifically for the repair of the gazebo. And so my concern, kind of since we've been entrusted with these funds, would be we want to make sure that the actual structure is repaired in the way that the donors would want. So my focus would be on the structure first, landscaping second. And I just wanted to mention that to you, Connor, because I love the idea of wanting to spruce up the area as well. And Rob's point about the accessibility is a very valid one, because the entire trail is currently accessible. We wouldn't want to do anything to make that last piece on, to get up to the gazebo not be accessible. But I do think we really need to focus on what the fundraising, what the town's intention has been as well, which is repair of the structure, and then the other pieces kind of being more secondary.
Okay.
What I would suggest is that what we do tonight, if I could hear a motion to put this item on the agenda for Wednesday for a deeper discussion and perhaps a vote for Connor to move forward. And what I would really like in the meantime, in the week, or so, I guess exactly a week, is for everybody to really, think about what their questions are, their concerns are. Again, one of the benefits of having this presentation tonight is it gives us a lot of time individually to really think about this. And then when we get together next week, I just think we're going to have a much better conversation about it, because I know, Connor, you need to move forward, and I know that we all would like to move forward and get this gazebo done. And I'm sure the donors who so graciously worked so hard to get those dollars, I'm sure they're really anxious. I know one has been in contact with me last spring wondering, where are we at? So I think that would be the best way to go, Connor, unless you're telling me there's a deadline I have for Monday night for a scout leader to get to step 3. So if that works for you, could I hear a motion that we put this on the agenda so that we can discuss it next Wednesday, and that we can perhaps come up with or we could vote next Wednesday and give Connor a thumbs up or thumbs down to move forward?
That works.
We're sort of de facto giving him a thumbs up to give us a more complete details.
Yeah.
The one thing I'm concerned about with the, before we go into a motion, Joey, is when I was saying know what a quote for the roof would be, at least, even if we got the labor from Abbott Tech, right, we would probably have to provide the shingles. So, I mean, I'm guessing. Does that sound right, Connor?
I'm not sure. I haven't really reached out to them yet. It was only recently brought to my attention that Abatech is a possibly viable option.
It'd be great to know from a roofer what the materials would cost and what it would cost with labor, if, in order for us to evaluate using the money. Because I think, especially with the structure being as good as you were saying it was, we want to make sure we covered what the gazebo, and it would be great to know what that cost was.
And I have a quick question too, Connor. Did Mr. Flum give you any idea about how much this whole project ballpark might cost? from a supply standpoint?
He has not, but if you'd wish, I will have further conversations with him this weekend as to what would be in the ballpark.
I think that's a good idea. Then that gives us kind of a number. And I'm pretty sure, Rob, that Abatech would not supply the shingles. They just supply the labor, and we would be supplying all the materials.
So if
So-
that person could give us a ballpark for what they thought the shingles would cost and the labor if we needed it, but that would be great. That would help us a lot.
And Connor, you might even want to reach out to one of the roofers in town. I know Aiello Roofing has been in Brookfield for forever, and they might come and give you a quick quote, and just to give you a ballpark idea of what it might cost, just so you have that number in your back pocket.
Thank you.
We can get that name to you, Connor.
And
they're terrific.
Connor, I'm just gonna. I apologize, Joe. I didn't mean to speak over you. Connor, I have an old number for the roofing replacement from 2019. So in 2019, it was estimated at $4,750. So just kind of use that as a benchmark. It will probably be around that cost, but so you have an idea going into your conversations.
But that included the labor and the materials probably, Mary?
For labor and materials, correct.
Okay.
So that would be the highest that we would likely see. And then that's, again, the 2019 number. So with inflation, increased cost of materials from the pandemic, it's very likely a little bit above that.
Thank you.
So do we need a motion, Mary, to put it on the agenda, or can we just get that line item on the agenda?
I'm not exactly sure of Robert's rules, to be quite honest, but we can certainly just add it to the agenda as an agenda item. And we do that without making motions for other agenda items, so we can certainly do that.
Let's absolutely do that. And then again, if I could just really encourage everyone to just give it a lot of thought. And so next Wednesday we can discuss, I have this concern, or I have this question or this comment, and I think that'd be really fruitful for next week. So Connor, if you speak with Mr. Flum over the weekend and you have any information, if you could pass it to Mary and she will send it out to all of us, and we can have that kind of in our database as well.
Thank you.
Are there any other questions that anyone has? John?
Yeah, my question is, and I know you touched upon it, Connor, in your presentation about needing new footings for the pillars and new pillars because they're tilted. Where I'm not sure is how far have you gotten into the aspect of, are you going to raise the roof and support it and then replace the structures, the pillars, or are you going to replace each pillar individually as you go around? I don't know if you've gotten that far into it with Mr. Flum.
I haven't really gotten that far.
Okay. Just curious from a safety standpoint.
Thank you.
Yep, sure. And if you need Chris Aiello's phone number, I can give it to you. I have his cell, so.
Thank you very much.
I have to tell you, not only I know he's done a lot of work around town, but he did our roof a couple of years ago, and we were incredibly thrilled. We got several quotes, and hands down, it was a good decision. So, all right. Any other questions, comments, suggestions for Connor?
I have a question. For commission discussion for next Wednesday, would we want or need Connor to be available to answer any questions that might come up as part of that discussion on Wednesday, or are we going to have a discussion and then reach back out should we have any additional questions for him?
I think it might make sense to have a discussion and then reach back out. This, not knowing how long our discussion or what kind of path it will take us on, I'd hate to have him just sit out our, perhaps even an hour's discussion or whatever. So that probably makes the most sense, Mary, but I'm open to what everyone else thinks about that.
Would that
I
be
think
an
that's
executive
fine.
session? Mary, is that what you're talking about or not?
I don't think it's necessary. It wouldn't necessarily be executive session, but I think just in the interest of Connor, not sort of, I think it's best that we have just an open discussion that takes however long, and then we can consolidate down any questions we have for Connor after that. That's just my thinking. I'm certainly open if anybody feels differently. I think it allows us to really drill down and have a good, honest dialogue with each other. Does that work for everybody? Okay. Any other questions, Mary, or comments for Connor?
No, I am all set. Thank you.
Thank you, Connor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for, I loved kind of your background and saying how you enjoyed it, and that it's meaningful to you. It's meaningful to so many people, and I applaud you. Your presentation was extraordinary. So thank you so much. Can I hear a motion? Unless there's anything, Mary, you need to bring up of this, but I think there was. I'll hear a motion.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you, John. A second. Renee? All those in favor? Thank you all once again for taking the time tonight. I think it was really important. Thank you so much. Good luck to everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Connor. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Good luck, Connor.
Thank you.